Okay, I hear recording in progress. So share the screen. Okay, so we're over here. I'll finish up 9.3 and then we'll have our quiz due at 11:59 p.m. tonight. Again, open everything. So I'll talk about the quiz in just a second. Okay. And then that's actually all the material needed for the exam. So the exam isn't going to be until next Friday, but after today, I would have covered everything you need to know for the test. So you should have plenty of time to prepare for the exam. 8.1, 8.2, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3. You've already had a couple of exams with me now, so you know the ground rules. So you submit this for homework. This is what you study. There's a 70% homework requirement. That's pretty easy to do considering I do a great percentage of the homework anyway, right? But I will get started on chapter 10. So next week, if I do my normal pattern of 2 days per section, I wouldn't actually be that far ahead. So right now I'm right on schedule for 2 days for 10.1. We have a flex day on Wednesday. There's no CSM classes at all. And then Thursday, I'll let you ask questions preparing for the test. And then we have our test 3 on Friday the 15th. Okay. Then looking farther down the line, exam 4 is on Friday the 29th. Then we quote unquote only have one more chapter and one more test, but it is our longest one. Chapter 11 on sequences and series. So that'll take us the rest of the semester. Okay. All right, so quiz time. So get your cell phones to take a picture or get ready for a screenshot. It's on the video, of course, also. All right, so give the table of 49 values on lattice points. It's a little bit of a, move it like that. Okay. Give the table of 49 values on the lattice points, -3, 3, cross -3, 3, and then sketch the slope field y prime equals 2x minus y. Okay, y prime equals 2x minus y. So I expect to see that table from -3 to 3 for x, 3 to -3 for y. 3 is on the top, -3 is on the bottom, you know. Okay, and then draw me the slope field. You don't have to sketch any solution curves if you don't want to. So just draw me the 49 points with their slopes associated with it. Okay, then number 2, solve the differential equation du dt is equal to 1 plus t to the 4th over ut squared plus u to the 4th t squared. Okay, you want to write this in terms of factors. So if I can do one again, I think that problem, the closest one to it is like problem 9 that we did. I'll just even write that in. Like number 9, 9.3, where you have to do some factoring. It's actually easier than number 9 in my opinion. Okay, so do some factoring, get all the u's together with du, get the t's together with dt, and then go from there. Right, open book, open note, open discussion. But again, you have to work it out the way we did it in class. Okay, I probably need to emphasize, sometimes I realize some of you know it's open, whatever, that means you can discuss it with somebody else, or maybe you look it up online, but the way they do it online or with a friend isn't the way we did it in class. You have to do it the way we did it in class. All right, that should be understood. You do it the way the teacher wants it, so to speak. Okay. So that's it. It's due at 11:59 p.m. tonight. You have the rest of the day to work on it after I do my lecture for today, which will not be that long. And then you can get started on the quiz. Okay, I'll take any questions you might have now. I'll check the chat for that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, the person that just sent me a message, send me an email about that. I don't want to take up time in class for that, but somebody who just sent me something in the chat, send me an email separately. Okay. Anything else about this particular quiz? You guys okay with this? So again, if you don't know how to do this, look at what we did for, the other ones. And this one is sort of like the material that we've just had. Okay. All right. Put this away. I'll lecture for a little while, but not that long. Okay, so I'm going to do problem 17 from 9.3. I'm just going to show you 17 here. Y prime tangent x equals a plus y. Y of pi over 3 is a. X is between 0 and pi over 2. Okay, change y prime to dy dx. All right, what's all these arrows going on here? So I want x on this side. So this arrow coming up means I multiply by dx. Tan x comes down, meaning divide by tan x. A plus y comes down, means divide by a plus y. Okay, your algebra should be very good to know what I did. The arrow should tell you right away. Multiply by dx, there it is. Divide by tangent x, there it is. Divide by a plus y, there it is. That way I have all the y's on the left side and the right-hand side just has x's. Then I integrate both sides. Okay, tangent on the bottom means cotangent on top. Okay, you could put this on your cheat sheet, but if you ever forget, you can use a U substitution. Cotangent is cosine over sine. But in any event, this comes out to be natural log absolute value of a plus y equals ln absolute sine x plus c. And a quick double check of this. What's the derivative of this? You go 1 over sine x times cosine x, and that is cotangent, so that works. All right, we played this game before yesterday. How do I get rid of the ln? Exponentiate both sides. So this cancels out directly. Here you split this up into e to the ln absolute value of sine x times e to the c, property of exponents. Again, in algebra 1, you probably went this direction a lot. E to the a times e to the b is e to the a plus b. Well, you can go backwards also. Break it into this. And then, yeah, what is e to the c? E to the c is just c. And then the next step is just drop the bars. Talked about that yesterday. Absolute a plus y equals c, absolute sine x. Just drop the bars on both sides. Again, the thing behind my pen is either non-negative, which means positive, or negative. If it's positive, it stays the same, so there it is. If it's negative, pretend there's a -1 out here in front. Then you multiply both sides by -1. This becomes a negative c. But what's negative c? It's still just c. And the same logic applies for this. So we just have this, solve for y. Y is equal to c sine x minus a. Okay, and now I have to solve for c. How do I solve for c? I use this fact, that y of pi over 3 equals a. And if you're not sure how to plug that in, cover this up and it says y equals a. So y is a, that means this is going to be x. All right, so I plug in pi over 3 and the answer is a. So a, okay, this a is plugged in for y. C sine of pi over 3 minus a. Add a to both sides, that gives me 2a. Equals c. Sine of 60 degrees is radical 3 over 2. Multiply both sides by 2 over radical 3. So c is 4a over radical 3. And this green thing circled all the way comes back here for the final answer. Okay, this is just a unit circle to remind us that sine of 60 degrees, the y coordinate is radical 3 over 2. The x coordinate is a half. Okay, so final answer, y is equal to 4a over radical 3 sine x minus a. Okay. So let me check the chat real quickly. Okay, so how does the E disappear? E disappears when I take right here, E to the ln x is just x. To knock out an ln, you put an E and vice versa. So E to the ln x is equal to x, and ln E to the x is also x. Property of a function and its inverse. Okay. So if you ever have an E and an ln back to back, they cancel each other out. Like this or like this. Here, x is allowed to be any real number. Here, x has to be greater than 0 because you can only take the natural number positive formulas. Okay. If you're talking about over here, e to the c is the same as c. Okay. When c is an arbitrary constant, you can sweep a lot of calculations under the rug. So c plus 1 is c, 2c is c, e to the c is c, and so on. Okay. And we just said negative c is still c. Okay, so that's still the same thing. All right. Okay, so that's 17. I'm going to show you 19 star, which is not quite our 19, but it's sort of similar. In the previous edition, so y prime is equal to xy, y of 0 is 1. Showing you the language. For 19, find equation of the curve that passes through the point 0, 2, whose slope is x over y. Okay, it says x over y. In my edition, it was xy, so I'm just changing a little bit. And in our edition, it says the point 0, 2. The previous edition said it was 0, 1. So that's the only difference. But otherwise, the idea is the same. So I'm going to do 19 star. And whenever I have a star, it means it's not the same as the problem in our text. That's the way it was in the original previous edition, but you know, it was too difficult for me to remake it all. Remake it all, so I'll just go with what I already had before. Okay, so y prime, write it as dy dx equals x times y. And then I separate, have all the y's on one side and the x's on the other. So multiply both sides by dx, that means it comes up. Divide by y, it comes down. So dy over y equals x dx. Integrate both sides. So this is ln absolute value of y equals x squared over 2 plus c. Same game, how do I get rid of an ln? Exponentiate, put an e here and an e here. This cancels out. Absolute value of y equals, same game here, e to the half x squared, e to the c. So you break this into 2. E to the a plus b, e to the a times e to the b. And now what is e to the c? C. And once again, drop the bars. I can just go straight from here to here. So y equals c e to the half x squared. Okay. And once again, you can only play this game if you have an arbitrary constant c on the other side, let's say. The absolute value of y, just by definition of absolute value, is either y or negative y. Excuse me. If it's y, there it is. If it's negative y, multiply both sides by negative 1, and you have a negative c. What's negative c? Still just c. Okay, so y equals c e to the half x squared. And now how do I solve for c? I use the fact that y of 0 is 1. So put a 0 here, 1 here. 1 equals c e to the 0, which is 1. Therefore, c is 1. So y equals e to the half x squared. Okay, and by the way, show and tell is very easy. Y of 0 is 1. Let's get that out of the way. When you plug in 0, do you get 1? Sure do, right? And y prime is x times y. Y prime is x times the original. For sure. What's the derivative of this thing? It's the same as the original times x. Yes, there it is. To get the derivative, you just multiply by x. X times the original y. So it definitely works. Okay. Okay, finally 23. And then I was going to be done. Solve the differential equation, blah, blah, blah. Forget the graph. Part B, initial value, y of 0 is 0. C, does the initial value problem, y of 0 is 2, have a solution? Explain. Okay. So what does that mean? Y prime is equal to this. Okay. So again, write y prime as dy dx. Multiplied by dx. Divide by radical 1 minus y squared. Looks like this. Okay, so again, the arrow means multiply. Arrow down here means divide. Okay, this is my inverse sine. Inverse sine of y is x squared plus c. How do I get rid of inverse sine? Take the sine of both sides. So y is equal to sine of x squared plus c. I won't bother to graph it. This is not a nice graph, by the way, and it's not even periodic. Normally we think sine is a periodic function, not for x squared. X squared is weird because of the fact that you're squaring. Okay, part B. Y of 0 equals 0. It's easy. Put a 0 here. Put a 0 here. 0 equals sine of 0 plus c. Well, that means I want sine of c to be 0. So c is 0. So quite simply, y equals sine of x squared. Okay, and again, do not graph it. I think I indicated that on the homework sheet also, because you don't have to bother graphing that. Okay. It's a weird graph. It's not even periodic. Normally, when we think of sine, right? Sine goes like that, not sine of x squared. Because of the x squared, it's much more weird. And finally, part C, and then I'll be done. So I'm done in a couple minutes. If anybody has any questions, you can ask or put it in the chat. But we'll be done very shortly, and I can turn you loose on the quiz. So in words are kind of funny. 23C, does the initial value problem, blah, 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 have a solution? Explain. So y of 0 equals 2 means put a 0 here, put a 2 here. 2 equals sine of 0 plus 2, 0 plus c. 2 is equal to sine of c. So the sine of what angle gives me 2? Well, we should know from trig that's impossible, right? The sine only comes back with a number between -1 and 1. So there is no solution. The sine of c, no matter what the angle c is, has to be between -1 and 1. So sine of c equals 2 is an impossibility. Okay. All right, and I'm done, folks. After that, I would get started with 10.1, but I will wait until Monday for that. Okay, so schedule-wise, I'm right on par. Okay, so Monday I'll start chapter 10. There will not be any of 10.1 on the test. The test covers just up to here. So everything that you need to know for the test is already complete as of now. We're just not having a test until next Friday. Okay, that way I can have all the exams on Friday. So I'll get started with 10.1 next week, lecture for a while on that. Go ahead and take notes if you need to or whatever, or watch the video, but you don't have to worry about that material being on the test. Test will just be this stuff right here. And we also have a semi-holiday a 1-day weekend, so to speak, right in the middle for a flex day on the 13th. Okay. All right, let me stop the share and I'll check the chat and I'll be done and let you ask anything that you want. Let me see if I get anything in the chat. Otherwise, I'll let you go get started on the quiz. Okay, I think I've caught up with the chat looking here. Okay, any questions with anything, please? Otherwise, that's it. All right, have a good weekend. Quiz is due at 11:59 tonight, and we'll see you next time. Okay, all right, bye, everybody.
All right, take care, Professor.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.